All right. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you everyone for joining us here today on Her Version. My name is Sabrina Victoria, and I have with me Kat. I am so excited to have her here. She is a strong, amazing woman, an aspiring author who loves to cook and dance. She is a mother of two grown children. One is 29 and one is 15. And she has a beautiful granddaughter who she absolutely adores. Kat is actually here today to shed some light on narcissistic abuse and how she was able to go from a 15-year relationship where she was financially abused, mentally abused, emotionally abused, to the powerful woman she is today. When I heard her story, I had to bring her on. So please enjoy, stay with us, and listen in. So, what's up, Kat? How are you?
Hey, good morning. How are you, Sabrina? I'm wonderful.
I'm
Thank
doing
you.
fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to sit down with us and talk about this. You know, as you know, this is a subject I'm super passionate about because of my backstory. And I love when I see women stepping into their power and taking the time to actually share their story in order to show that you can go from one situation into a completely different situation if you use the right tools and you have the right people around you to help mentally support you and emotionally support you through the journey of that. So how are you?
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Life is good now. Finally, no more dark clouds.
I love that. I love that. So you have a 15-year-old who still lives with you, right?
Correct. Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Is
I
he with you?
co-parent. Not today. We actually, his father and I actually co-parent. So, one week on, one week off. So it's nice. I utilize my time to myself the best that I can to be productive. And if I want to do something, I don't have to worry about it. No
I love
babysitters.
that. I love I love that. And I love that you're saying that because I think that that is, and I had the same exact experience where you feel as if some of your control is being pulled away from you. And I love that you can share the same experience that I've had where once you kind of get over that hump, you start to realize that it's actually a good thing.
Absolutely. Yes, it
Yeah.
has been.
Yeah.
That's something you have to learn along the way, and it's also a mindset, So you can be optimistic about it,
100%.
or you can, yeah,
Exactly, exactly.
right.
So I see so many similarities in these narcissistic relationships, and I really want to highlight the beginning of your relationship. Do you mind opening up with how you and your now ex-husband met, and how long it actually took you to actually see the red flags?
Wow. Okay. Well, of course. So, like many couples, we met in the workplace in 2001. Um, it was on a professional level. He was a team leader for the janitorial company that was contracted to my employer. He was the main point of contact. So, we got to know each other over a period of time. And during that time, when I first met him, I was already in a relationship, ending a relationship. And so after that, we became more friends, and then I started to develop feelings for him, because he was saying all the right things to me. He noticed how I had this habit of pulling my hair aside and twirling it. He noticed that. He noticed the way that I bent down. Instead of like bending over, I squatted down to pick up something. He just thought that stood out to him, that I didn't bend over. I squatted down to pick up something. Just very, in a classy way. And
Mhm.
so he said that he was just tired of seeing me so sad. He wanted to take me out. And then, but during that time, when I met him, even though it was at the end of a relationship, he was still married. Um, but they were both in, they were still legally married but separated. And she was in another relationship, and I knew that. I knew that about them, and I he made me to believe that they were done. And so I went out with him from on and off until on and off. And then in 2003, um, we started dating actually in 2000. So I met in 2001. We started dating in early 2003, and the end of 2003, he had told me that he had found out that his still then was pregnant with their second child, and that was like really disappointing. But yeah, I couldn't be upset because we were seeing each other on and off, but I didn't know he was still with her. And so that was kind of now in hindsight, and that was kind of a red flag. And I just hit up on me so bad in the beginning that no matter what happened, I just was there for him. I loved him. I wanted to be with him. He made me to believe that he wanted to build a future with me. So I ended up getting pregnant with our son back in gave birth to him in August 2006. And a year later, after I graduated from with my bachelor's degree, I moved in with him when our son was a year old, and then we ended up renting the house that we ended up purchasing. So from 2007 until 2008, early 2018, we lived together. We lived together for a long time before we got married. Actually, got married in November of 2011. So in that period of time, in hindsight, of course, there were so many red flags. Like, for example, when I got pregnant with our son, and on the day of my baby shower, he broke up with me. And he had told me that I don't know whether I'm supposed to be with you or if I'm supposed to be with my still wife.
Wow.
And I was heartbroken. I'm like, well, wait a second here, a child together in a month. You're telling me that, you don't know if you're supposed to be with me or with her. And now that you're going back to church, and I'm starting to have a, relationship with God again. I'm like, I understood that. Who am I to, get in the way of, his walk with God? And at that time when I met him, there's a term called backslider. I didn't know anything about church. I didn't go to church. My family was Catholic. I never went to church. But I knew there was a God. And so when he told me that, I was like, just totally heartbroken. And he had told me that, God had said that we named our son too soon. And, this is his name, the name he has now. I'm like, well, wait a second, not having a relationship with God then, or never hearing from God. Well, wait a second. How did God speak to you and tell you our son's name? That's a long story in itself. And it's a beautiful testimony that I have. And that's what, my son's name was revealed to me by God on a stuffed animal that has my son's name on it, that I had no idea that my son's name was on it. It was my daughter's when she was 8.
Wow.
And I kept this stuffed animal toy for all these years. Or wanted to give her little brother. And that's when I saw my son's name on it, I was like, wow, there really is a God, and that started my walk with God and opening faith. So he used, religion as a tool to manipulate me, to control me, because the way I now is the way he met me back, in 2001. And in the course of our, relationship and marriage, I did dig deeper, and I did get baptized after my son was born, and I developed my own relationship with God. And God speaks to me very vividly, to me through dreams, but I do hear him audibly sometimes. But he used religion to control me as far as my appearance. Not allowed to cut my hair, color my hair, no jewelry, makeup, only long dresses. Very, say, kind of matronly for my age. Just not very, I didn't feel like that was me. The way he wanted me to look, that I didn't feel like that was me, but I did love having a relationship with God. And so he would say things to me, like if he didn't like that I was wearing, he'd tell me, well, he would condemn me and say, well, you must not be praying hard enough.
Oh.
And I was just like, wow, God, not even God has put it in my heart that I don't like what you're wearing. So I had to be very covered up, no showing skin, very long dresses, makeup, no jewelry, no cutting of the hair, no dyeing of the hair. Just, very just plain. And
Yeah.
I always knew that wasn't me. And I'm happy now that I'm out of the marriage. I'm happy to finally, it took me a whole year to start putting on pants and putting on jewelry again. I just did it over a period of time. I started to get back to myself. And now I'm
Yeah.
happy. I'm free. No more eggshells, no more condemnation. I'm Kat now. I'm myself. And
Yeah.
I love myself now. During that time, I didn't love myself because he made me feel, with the emotional abuse, he made me feel like I had no value. Like I was not allowed to express my own likes or opinions. And everything had to be his way or the highway. It was just never ever good enough for him. It always seemed like the expression "you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't."
Yeah.
I could just never, please him. And it
You
just was like, what am
mentioned
I wrong? I'm really trying here. I'm trying to go above and beyond.
never good enough. Yeah.
I never was ever felt, didn't feel good enough. I didn't love myself. And then he had good enough, and he had a fair, he would always use his work as an excuse to, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. I'm working late. Oh, I'm going to go to the gym. But, unbeknownst to me, he was having affairs behind my back.
Wow.
And I found out shortly after we got married, that a boyfriend of a woman that he was talking to had called me to tell me that, hey, I caught my girlfriend with your husband.
Wow.
And that just, that was hard for me to, it was an emotional affair from what I know, is what he told me.
Yeah.
But it took a long time to rebuild trust him.
Yeah. In the
Yeah.
beginning,
So he really tore me down in our,
yeah. In the beginning, when you were
I'm
first
sorry, I
dating,
can't hear you.
oh, can you hear me now?
I'm it's kind of breaking up a little bit.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Maybe, maybe not.
I think we're having a bad connection. Yes, I can.
You can hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. In the beginning, you had mentioned,
Yes,
it
I can.
seemed as
I
if,
can hear you.
okay, it seemed as if he was kind of chasing you a little bit in the beginning. Like he didn't want you to feel sad. He was noticing things about you and he was kind of chasing you. How was it that the first 2 years of your relationship
Yes.
were so rocky? Why was it so on and off?
Because he would cause fights with me. And that would be like an excuse for him to leave and go and, see, I guess he was coming and going at my place, living out of a gym bag, going from place to place to place. He'd say, I'm going over here, I'm going over there, friends that we knew because he was banned. And I'm like, oh, okay, I know who so and so is. But it didn't make me, I never knew that the signs weren't there that he was being with her.
Got it.
Or, I didn't know he was seeing other people. I just knew that he was mad at me. He'd give me the silent, and it was an excuse for him to leave and just go do, what he wanted to do.
Got it. That makes sense.
So,
And then what was the difference between the
so that was,
first two?
and then, yeah, I'm sorry.
What was the difference between the first 2 years? Like, how did he all of a sudden commit to you? Was it because of the baby?
Um, yeah, it was. it was, yeah, it was because of the baby. He led me to believe that, oh, I'm going back to church. I want to, even though he wasn't really sure whether or not he was supposed to be with her or with me, he went back to church. I let him go. I let him go do his thing, and we would just co-parent. I would drop him off on the way to work. I was going to school full time after work. Um, so there was like a whole day and a half. My son was 6 weeks old. My whole day and a half, I didn't get to see him, and we would just, co-parenting until we actually, we finally started to. He said, "Oh, now I'm, she's just doing this, she's doing that. She's not who I thought she was." So he said, "I want to be with you. I want to build a future with you. Um, I'm gonna go rent a place, a big place for us, and I want you to move in." So after I graduated, 2007, I moved in with him.
Got it.
So, and after I moved in with him, that's when he started to really turn up, the heat and becoming controlling. And I really didn't see it because, I was just so in love with him. That's who I wanted to be with. He was selling me a future
Yeah.
that he never intended to, follow through on. He was just using me along the way as a pet, stepping stones to get to where he is today.
Yeah.
Because when I met him, he was living out of his bed, going from place to place, and now he is a business owner. Lives in a very
Got
nice neighborhood, and he's living now. Well, it was the mistress, but living with her
Yeah.
now. Yeah, and I
Um,
worked
good.
hard. I felt really, that really hurt me. That really hurt me because
Yeah. What I know that you mentioned a few ways that he was manipulating you with
sorry, I
religion.
can't hear you again.
Oh, do you have full bars?
Yes,
Because I have full bars too. I wonder what that is. Um, is
I
there,
do. Yes,
um,
I do.
I know that, let me see if maybe I move. Let me go outside. Um, I know that you had stated, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
I know that you had stated earlier that you had or he was manipulating you through religion. It's interesting that he was cheating, but then using religion to control you. What other missteps is there with that?
Right.
Like,
Well, I think
I
he was using that as a cover. I think he was
as a
using
cover.
religion as a cover up.
Got it. No, I totally agree.
Yeah, I think he was using religion as a cover to put on a public. He was using like his public face, his public image, and then but behind he was secretly having affairs, but using that to make me look like, as I would tell me, he was putting me on a pedestal. Look at her, I'm doing all this as a this man, but secretly, really doing what he wanted to do. So he wanted to keep me, he isolated me from everyone, family and friends, or sometimes he would say things in order for me to not talk to people. He would say things that would let me know that he disapproved. So therefore, I didn't want to rock the boat. Oh, okay, I know, someone's asking me to go do this with them, but he's already said, well, something like this about her. I don't like that about her. So therefore, I would just make excuses and say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I'm busy. And I was always in the house, and I ended home. It was his idea to homeschool our son, which kept me in the house even more.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
while I was in the house, he was out busy doing things that I didn't know he was. And through our divorce, and with my attorney, and with the things that God was giving me, um, of his dark secrets. It was not necessarily fear that hurt me the most. It was the betrayal that he was pretending to be a Christian man, protecting his family, taking care of us, and providing for us, while he was out there spending and spending and spending and telling me that I couldn't, the necessities for myself and our son.
Yeah.
And, he was secretly spending all kinds of money that had I known, I didn't have access to our business. I guess I had the card to go shopping, but not the passwords for, logging in to check our bank account, because if I had known all those things, I would have brought to his attention.
Got it. So he was even keeping you from the bank account.
The betrayal, there's just a lot of, the betrayal hurt. Yes.
Yeah.
For it, and I would deposit it into our bank account, and then I wasn't allowed to use it.
Wow.
He would tell me no. I would ask him, "Can I go buy this? Can I go buy that?" No, not right now. I'm trying to keep a certain amount of money in the bank, and he was spending on himself. His mistress. So very that hurt the most.
Yeah.
And now I have all this debt. He didn't want me to work, and I have over $106,000 in student loans.
Wow. That's heavy.